Thanks, everybody. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure for me to be here and to talk about what I think is the most exciting subject in the world today, and that is a revolution of energy. That's what we're going to be talking about today, a revolution of energy. Now, what does that mean in practical terms? What it means in practical terms, a revolution of energy, is the energy that I'm talking about. It isn't gas and oil. You know, it's not windmill or solar power. It's not even crystal fairies flying around to sprinkle the butterflies on people. The energy that I'm talking about is your life, and the ability to use your energy to change. So when I'm talking about energy, I'm talking about your thoughts, I'm talking about your memories, I'm talking about your emotions, your behaviors, your beliefs, all that encompasses you, which is known as your life. I call it your energy blueprint or your energetic operating system. Your energetic operating system. And this was the missing key in my journey of almost over now 2 decades of trying to learn, what do I need to do to change? What do I need to do to have a better life? What do I need to do to go from here to here? Now, most of the time when I was trying to make changes, just like all of us are, because let's face it, there's things that we all have happened to us. There's baggage that we come into this world with, and that's the human experience. I thought I was the only one. I thought I was the only one who had negative thoughts. Thought I was the only one who had these feelings of not being good enough or not being worthy, or parts of me that were in control and parts of me that were out of control. It was like this big soup inside, trying to navigate, running this life, running the memories, the thoughts, the emotions, the behaviors. Some of them would do what I want. Some of them wouldn't do what I want. Anybody have that going on? Yeah, I see that. I see that. So what was the solution? That's what I wanted to know, because my experience was, from where I came from, maybe some of you can relate, was a very emotionally turbulent, some could say violent emotionally, home, where there was a lot of arguing, a lot of fighting, a lot of stress growing up. And dealing with this, with all of that, we have no tools to deal with when we're growing up. When we're growing up and we face adversity or anger or rejection or hostility, or either emotional or physical violence, we're not taught on how to deal with that. And as a result, all of that stuff, which is an energy, sticks to us and connects to us unbeknownst to us. So when I left home at 17, I thought, I'm going to get out of this nut house, and I'm going to go make my own way, and I'm going to live happily ever after. Well, what I learned is you can leave the nut house behind, but the nut house doesn't leave you. In other words, the turmoil and which I call energy now, that I got there, still had an effect on me. And I didn't know that. So I thought, well, I'm just going to be successful and have a great life and go for it. And yet I found that there were patterns that were developing. I would find that so much of my life, in terms of success, would be up and down. That relationships would be happy one minute, and then they'd be sad the next. And they would start great, and then they would turn and have a tragic ending, a heartbreak. So after I experienced that numerous times, I thought, I think there might be a pattern here. I think there might be something more going on that I'm not aware of. And I want to find out what it is. Anybody can relate to that? Yeah, see you show hands. Well, so I threw myself in to personal development. I started the traditional ways, talking to, therapists and counselors, and And all we would seem to do would be talk, 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 and nothing seemed to get better. So I would see as I was growing up, there would be these seminars where you could walk on fire, or you could break boards, or you could climb mountains, or you could do all these things that supposedly, if you did them, you'd have a breakthrough. So I went and signed up for all these different programs and seminars, and I had a great time, but they didn't fundamentally change anything inside me. So I got on the personal development merry-go-round. Can some of you relate? The next book, the next seminar, the next program, right? The next event. And all of these things over time would give me a greater perspective of, oh, okay, I see where I'm thinking different, or I need to visualize something more. But by and large, after you've been in it for a few years, you see it's pretty much the same thing rehashed from a different description of it. Think positive, visualize, make affirmations, willpower, etc. Pretty much that's been personal development for the last 100 years. And it wasn't until I discovered the most powerful change agent in the world that my life began to change. That my life began to change. And what is that? The discovery of energy, the concept of energy. Now, what am I talking about? The energy. What are you talking about with energy? Well, let's start with one of the most brilliant men who ever lived. His name was Nikola Tesla. And he said, if you want to understand the mysteries of this world, not the things you already know, the mysteries, the things you can't figure out, the big question of why. Why is this happening to me? Why did that happen to me? Why am I in the life that I'm in like now? And why is there so much pain and struggle going on? That's what he was talking about. If you want to understand the mysteries of life, then you'll start to look at everything in this world as energy, as frequency and vibration. Energy, frequency, and vibration. And I thought, wow, okay, that's a new one. Never heard that one before. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Well, what does that mean? Well, what I took it to mean is that there's a hidden world of knowledge that we were never taught. And when he talked about energy and frequencies, he's talking about another language, another code, another understanding of a world that's hidden, that wasn't explained to us. Because let's face it, our understanding of this world is basically from what we experienced growing up. We were taught a linear model of dealing with this world in education, to use logic, to use linear thinking. And that works for probably half a life. Go to school, right? Get your degree, get a job, get married, have kids, start a business, live happily ever after. Well, like most of you may have experienced, that equation isn't a straight line. And sometimes that happens, and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes you obey all the rules, and the results are different from what you were promised. And that's what happened to me. So when we were talking about energy, this is the big aha I got, that energy is an invisible source of power and knowledge. And that energy, which runs this whole planet, is the missing link, the missing piece to having a full and happy life in this world. So as I developed my understanding with this, both from an intellectual point of view and some revelations and some downloads that I got in my meditations, I began to see how this invisible world worked. I began to see that there were laws, that there were principles, that there was a whole code, a whole language of how to deal and operate in this world energetically that we were never taught. But if you learn that language, if you learned about that hidden world of knowledge, then that would change your whole life from the very core.